Hello, welcome to Matters of DeCorum. I'm Scott Corum. This is what matters to me. Uh, I am running two D&D campaigns at the moment. They are occurring on concurrent nights of the week, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday. And they have two entirely different energy levels and two different levels of involvement. And I thought that'd be a good time to discuss the fact that not all of the games that you dungeon master, if you are dungeon mastering, are going to have the same level of involvement. As you know, I'm not going to be running either of those games this week. I'm having the first of my cataract surgeries tomorrow. So I'm planning on being down for a day or two. It's minor surgery. It shouldn't really be all that bad, but it is surgery, and I'm going to treat it seriously, and I think that's probably my best path through. So, man, these will be a thing of the past in about 4 or 5 of these episodes. This lens will be a thing of the past after tomorrow, and then 3 weeks later, I'm just not going to need these anymore, which is going to be fascinating since I've worn glasses since I was, 10, 11? But fascinated to start this new adventure in proper vision because this sucks. So, the Tuesday game that I'm running for the layer action is a more involved game, a more involved dungeon mastering process. And that is for a number of reasons. One, like most of the campaigns that I run for the layer action, or that I play with the layer action, both of which are just amazing experiences, that's being done to be recorded, so for eventual release. The podcasts are being released now, and more are being worked on, but we run out of the podcasts around the middle of next year and are going to be moving into video production, which should be fascinating. And really looking forward to taking some of the footage we've done and making it into something palatable. But because there's a certain performance aspect to it, it takes, I put a bit more into that. It takes resources, and this particular campaign that I'm running at the moment is a little bit more resource intensive on me than maybe some of the things I've run in the past. A couple of reasons. One, I really want to get something that is emotionally involving out of my players. I want something that is engaging, that is going to kick in the feels and get some endorphins running. I want there to be some highs and some lows and some chills, and see if I can't get something out of myself that is beyond what I normally do. I'm running in someone else's setting, a place that someone else created, someone who is playing in the game. So, and they would be the last person to overly pressure me to get every single little detail right, which is a credit to them. Thank you, Candace. At the same time, I want to do it justice because I'm very fond of the setting, and I have thrown some set pieces into it myself in the past, and I would like it to be something that portrays this setting to the eventual viewing audience as some place that they want to be, that they want to have their adventures in, something that they can see as favorably as we do. So there's just a little bit of stress, and that gives me a little bit extra oomph to really hit it hard. what does hitting it hard mean when you're a dungeon master? That means your NPCs are emoting. I almost cried. I had tears for a few minutes there. When you got the poor youth from the embattled village just looking for someone who can help them, and going from person to person in an inn randomly, hoping that anyone there, and just would be kind enough out of the goodness of their heart to come and help these people who they don't know, who they have no connection to. They're just people who need help. And couldn't you just please come and help us? We're being killed. I want to get that emotional grip in there that convey how much these people need help, not just to the players, but an audience. So I throw in that little bit of extra emotion. I emote. I act. I act as only a frustrated old thespian can. I'm careful about my numbers. More careful about my numbers. Doing math in the middle of a game sucks, but that is part of the Dungeon Master's job. So you want to make sure that you've got consistent hit points and consistent 2 hits and consistent damage for your opposition, and you want to be able to work on those as the game goes. Let folks know whether you're the arbiter of whether those hits actually hit or not. I swing my staff, do I hit? And being spot on with your rules. That's the thing about doing this in front of a camera, or doing it on for production, is that there's a lot of stuff you can take out in editing, a lot of errors that you make, or things that I when I'm editing the podcast, no doubt when I'm doing the editing for the video, there's things you remove from that. I've rolled my dice. Give me a minute to see what I got. Been doing the math and working it out. Geez, my damage is 2d6 plus 4, and that's 10. So you can edit a certain amount of that out. You can't edit out not knowing what you're doing, or not understanding a rule, or not getting the monster consistent. You need to have that going in your head and get that out as efficiently as you possibly can. Because you can't edit out frustration on the players' faces. You can't edit out just being wrong for half the adventure and having to correct. You can play it for laughs down the line, but you want to have your technical stuff correct. And when you combine that with you want to have an emotional thing, you want to convey the setting, your narrative needs to be good, your description of the stuff around has to be, you have to describe enough so that people get a good sense of what is happening. You don't want to describe so much that you are monologuing while there's people there who need to roll dice. And that's a balance, which is another point of focus. Have I described this for too long? Have I described enough of this? Am I about to describe more than I absolutely need to? You need to keep that tight. And then are the players having a good time? And if not, what do I need to throw? Everyone's at the table for something a little bit different, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is one of the joys of this game. And you want to make sure that you're hitting the spots folks are there for. Especially this particular campaign, folks made characters that have in and of themselves a little more emotional content. They're really throwing down and into this feels aspect of it. So you get real involvement and real investment in this. And that's I think that's the point. Investment. I'm investing as a dungeon master. I'm investing energy and emotion and skill into this. The players are all investing into it. They're investing their emotional commitment and their enthusiasm into this. And I am the account manager of those investments. As the dungeon master, whether or not those investments pay off, there is some responsibility on the other side of the table, but most of it lands right in the dungeon master's lap. And you are constantly checking those faces and listening to those tones and seeing how people are playing to make sure those investments are paying dividends from day one. From the moment you guys start rolling dice, from the moment things start happening and moving forwards, are those investments paying off? I put time into making this character and getting this background, and I've come up with this concept, and I'm acting my heart out while I'm doing this. Am I getting back what I'm putting in, or more? Ideally, you get back more. Gaming is a synergistic activity. The sum of what you get out can be more than what you all put in, which is when games are ideal. So there's storyline I want to get through, and it's got to be paced. We've got 5 episodes to get, or 5 sessions to get this campaign out, or at least this arc of the campaign. And if it works out, we go back to it later on. But you want to throw that down and make things happen so that there's a satisfying gameplay. And while you have loops, you want to have a satisfying conclusion, or at least a satisfying end of the arc. And all of that takes energy. You put all of this together, not that it's a chore or that I look at it as work. It's still the hobby that I love. It is still one of my favorite activities in the world. Sometimes what you love doing, you do a little bit harder. And that's good. That means that you have that capacity to just jump in and invest and go and make something a little bit better than what you've made before. It's the challenge I always give myself. Have I beaten my last campaign? So that's the Layer Actions campaign on Tuesdays. Then I come to Wednesday. Tuesday's game has left me feeling a little bit wrung out. Which means I did it right. If you do something that you really enjoy and you're a little bit tired afterwards, that means you were doing it. Excellent. Good job. Now I've got another game to run. We have recorded some of the Warriors games in the past. I need to find a way to make those recordings available or palatable or both. I'm not recording this one. I messed up recording the first session, and if things work out, I might record stuff down the line. But at the moment, it's still just the Wednesday game is a beer and pretzels game, and that phrase has come to mean a lot over time, and it means different things to different dungeon masters. But in general, your beer and pretzels game, you sit down and you throw out the situation, and people start role playing and rolling dice, and you just kind of follow along with what the game is doing. As the dungeon master, you're not leading a beer and pretzels game. You're having a beer and pretzels game. That game is happening to you. You're not necessarily doing it. What do I mean by that? That seems odd for a dungeon master point of view. super casual. It took me a little. I was finishing up my PC NPC at about the time that folks were getting together. I needed a few minutes. No one had a problem with that. Folks went and got a food and a little more to drink. We all gathered around. We socialized for a few minutes. Um, the Warriors Wednesday is a great group, and they gave me time. You know, do we got to go dark tonight? Do you have it? Are we good? It's okay. Let's do some stuff. Let's do some stuff. And when I've had this problem in the past, and I need to remember this. This is something that was true with the Naughty Crew, the group that I ran at the friendly local gaming store, the Game Chest, and has been true for so many different groups in the past that no matter how bad I'm feeling exhausted, I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling like everything I just don't have it to put it together. I square up my shoulders and I sit in my seat and I face those players either on screen or across the table. And I reach into my bag of situations. There's some undead nearby. You might want to look into that. Oh, there's some bandits down the road. I think someone could probably address that if they had the time. There's a caravan going from here to the next town over. Maybe someone could do caravan guarding. It's at least a little extra gold. Simple stuff, little stuff. They're first level, so it doesn't have to be anything big. In fact, it shouldn't be anything big. There's some rats in my barn. Could you deal with that? One of them is really big. So I throw a situation. I just throw, well, you're in this place and looking at this stuff and, well, there's a something there. And then I sit back and the Warriors are a group that overthinks their situations in the most amazing and beautiful ways possible. This is the first time, okay, this is the second time that they have played first level characters. Mostly we're playing stuff that's more advanced. We're using the victory system where that's a difficult level of expertise to emulate. The victory kind of has bias towards more experienced and capable characters. But they're first level characters, so they sit around, they think of what their first level characters might be able to do, and they look at their character sheets and start putting together plans of action, and they'll do something and something goes wrong. Why does something go wrong? Because it's this group, and sometimes there's a little whimsy in the actions that they present, and whimsy is room for stuff to go wrong, or a dice roll doesn't go the way they want them to. Dice do that. That's kind of what they're there for. You have a random number generator in the game so that sometimes it generates a bad number, and you want that. Someone decides to do something maybe a little foolhardy. Often someone comes up to something foolhardy to do. Okay. The last session that we ran, that game, there was one monster. One piece of opposition. Two, if you count the environment that it was in. There's a toxic sludge. An undead toxic sludge, to be sure. I mixed it up a little bit. In an underground chamber, on a rock in the middle of a rushing pool that was being fed by a stream feeding in through a cave from the river right next to it. So, okay, it's completely dark down there. It's completely dark. Well, for a change, one party member had dark vision. So they go down to have a look, and that party member, first level, not a great climber. Small, a kobold paladin, not really super equipped to deal with that situation, but hey, they gave it their try. And then folks from up above start thinking, well, we can't see if we go down there and it's really wet and there's a lot of water splash, so a torch isn't going to do a lot of good. But maybe we can throw things that burn down the hole. Okay? Uh, the sludge starts advancing and the cobalt is trying to keep away from it. And the folks above are taking bottles of oil and alchemical fire and torches. And nothing makes a situation go bad faster than fire. And now I don't have to worry about the rest of the game. I can sit back and I can coast. I'm not running a game, I'm adjudicating consequences. And I'm just telling them what happens as a result of their actions over and over and over again. And that's not running a game, that's falling through a game. That is so easy at this point in time. That is taking my brain off the hook and just letting the game happen. It is relaxing and it is energizing and it is such a relief to just let the party's actions dictate what happens next. That happens in both of these campaigns. That happens in both cases. That the actions that the party takes does dictate what happens next, obviously. But when you're doing the beer and pretzels, I don't have anything in my head. I don't care about the setting. The setting here at the moment is a 100-foot by 100-foot square where they're trying to start a sawmill so they can build a bridge over the river. That is the entire space that I need to worry about right now. And so I'm not worried about setting or consistency or tone. I'm just running the space. And okay, so they've done some things and eventually they do in fact manage to kill the thing because, well, of course they do. Even as a bunch of first level characters, they're not incapable. They've got they have to save the kobold from drowning. The Warforged has to get steamed out because the Warforged went down to get the kobold and help out. And well, Warforged built out of a pipe organ and doesn't swim very well. And then getting out of that hole through the river, another character's trying to get them out of the river and splashing into the river instead, almost getting washed down because the river's the category 3 rapids at that point, and it's a kind of an issue to be in the river at that point. And ropes get thrown, rolls get made, everyone gets out, folks start to dry off, assess the problem. And then I give them some lore and some information that can lead them to the next thing, end of session. Just beer and pretzels. And if I'm being honest, I would run the layer action campaign at the drop of a hat. It's something I'm involved and invested in, and I love the setting. And I have both of these games. I have amazing players. I've got 3 players in the layer action game, which is perfect for that level of game. Absolutely spot on perfect because that means that there's enough players that they have interactions within themselves. They have, there is a group dynamic that can get built over time. And I can also give each player a certain amount of spotlight for their character and give them their opportunity to stand up and shine and to have their involvement. And because those are 3 very proactive players who take that spotlight when it's given to them and make something out of it, oh my God, so good. That engagement fuels the game and makes it a joy to run. I don't have quite that level of engagement with the Warriors of Wednesday. They're waiting for a game to happen. And so stuff happens and they do it. There's, man, you'd think I could count 5 or 6 depending on the night. And that is a largest group. I've run for 12 people before, so 6 is not that big of a deal. But I kind of need to breadcrumb the group and throw stuff to them for them to react to. There's a little bit of proactiveness, a little bit of, well, I have a thing I want to do, so let's do it. Mostly it's, here's a thing to do, let's make some rules. And that is, in its own way, relaxing, and it lets me do some plotting, but it also lets me just chuck a burning slime into the middle of a bar and watch what they do with it. And it's almost, it's like I've got action figures that I can play with, but they yell and scream and make funny noises when bad things happen. And at the end of it, it's a little bit better than that, because if I have broken one of my action figures, that's my fault because I was playing with my action figures. If I've broken the party or a couple of party members by the end of one of these games, because of how I run it, and I'm just adjudicating consequences, I can sit back and go, now, was any of this my fault? And everyone's got to admit, no, we did that. Which is just the best feeling ever. Which of these styles do I prefer? Yes. They are two different experiences. They are two different games. There are two different ways that I can experience Dungeons and Dragons. Every group is a different experience. Every set of people brings a different chemistry to the process. There's a different feel to every game you play, because different people bring different elements and there's different dynamics between the people. But as these particular games that I'm running, each is designed to be exactly what it is. The layer action game is designed to be something that is engaging and energetic, and there are people at that table who are just as interested and invested in being engaging and energetic, on presenting themselves well and having a good time while making it look good, and that is kind of amazing. It's involving, and I'm an old theater guy, and there might be an indication or two that some stuff I do is meant to be viewed by other people. The Warriors of Wednesday game? That is, I'm hanging out with my friends, and we happen to want to. We all have some D&D books. I got some dice here; they got some dice, and let's play a game. Let's see what kind of a story happens. There's a story to tell in the layer action game. I've got a story, and I want to see how that story changes and how it evolves based on the actions of other people, so that I've got something that's been not just constructed, but crafted at the end of 5 episodes of the campaign. With the Warriors of Wednesday, I don't know what the story is. I know where the story begins. I have the beginning of the story. I have neither a middle nor an end. I'm waiting to see where the group takes it. I'm along for this ride. By the end of that storyline, however it takes, that group will have a story that hasn't been meticulously crafted. It's not going to have the polish of another story. It's going to be this wild and ragged jumble of event after event, until somehow, miraculously, at the end, everyone wins. Well, the people who win. And they're going to be able to look back on every aspect of that and go, we could have made the wrong choice at any point in time and everyone could have died. It's amazing that we're here. And as a dungeon master, I'll only be able to agree. Yeah, you guys could have absolutely walked off a cliff at any moment and you just didn't. Awesome. Or you did and you survived. Awesome. It pays to have a number of campaigns going on. It pays to have them being varied. Uh, the more varied, perhaps, the better. I am so fortunate. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I am amazingly fortunate to have the groups that I have to work with because they all bring different things to the table, but all the tables are so good. Um, can rely on a handful of behaviors, and when I can't rely on a behavior, I am astonished, surprised, and delighted by the behaviors that are emergent. Both groups. Uh, one of these days, one of these days, there needs to be just a party, not a big fancy thing, not a soiree, maybe a gathering at a beach. Maybe sometime over the summer while I'm trying out the new eyes on the sunsets. I go and I stake out a fire pit at Dockweiler Beach down the way, uh, where they've got big public fire pits. You just got to get there to get one. It's first come, first serve. Take some firewood, whatnot, get something started, and have folks show up over the course of an evening, stand around on the beach, cook some hot dogs over fire, drink some sodas, meet each other, see how the chemistry works, see if games happen, or might, or maybe just let the people be people, and and meet each of them have heard stories about the other. So and often through this format here, and I think that would be a fascinating evening. I like it when my friends get a chance to meet. So maybe we'll see. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for following me this rant through my game styles and how the games are going. I'm looking forward to seeing how both of these things shake out. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Some of you may be able to experience down the line, and as things get produced. Some of it may just be me sitting back with a bigger coffee and telling a story. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy the video, give me a thumbs down. Feedback is feedback. If there's stories that you have about your experiences with different gaming styles, things you'd like to hear me talk about, questions you'd like me to answer, leave me a comment down below. I will love getting your comment, and you'll love leaving me one. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, why not? The channel's awesome. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you do, you might want to hit the notification bell as well, so you're alerted when my videos become available. If you would like to contribute to the channel in a more substantial manner, I invite you to hit me up my Patreon page, www.patreon.com/ScottCorum, and consider donating. Absolutely anything helps and allows me to make better videos more often. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I'm Scott Corum. This is what has mattered to me. I'll see you next time on the next Matters of DeCorum.